Guys, in this video I'm going to talk about in what ways were Harappa and Mohenjo-daro alike. Number 2, what were some of the outstanding features of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro? Okay, so let's get started. So as you can see the diagram, this is the Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro. And the people of Mohenjo-daro may have washed themselves at the Great Bath. Was the purpose of the Great Bath. So let's get Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Harappan civilization centered around two major cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. So these cities over 600 kilometers apart. Many experts believe they were twin capitals. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro are the oldest examples yet found of planned communities or cities built to a definite plan. Both cities contained hundreds of small buildings. Some of the buildings served as homes while others served as shops. The buildings were laid out on a planned street grid or uniform network. The streets crossed each other at almost perfect right angles. The buildings that lined the streets were arranged in blocks of about the same size. And most of the buildings were 2 stories high and were built around the courtyard. The courtyard opened into several rooms. The outer walls of the buildings had no windows and the walls fronted on narrow lanes in such a way as to break the force of the wind. Almost every building had its own well, a bathroom and drains. The drains carried waste away from the houses and emptied it into drain holes lined with brick. These drains were cleaned often. This sanitation system helped protect the health of the Harappan people. The more important buildings of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were built high above the houses and shops so as to be safe from neighboring people and floods. In each city, a citadel or fort stood on a mound that was at least 12 meters high. So it was surrounded by a thick brick wall inside the citadel. So you can see here. Mohenjo-daro was a huge watertight tank called the Great Bath. Some experts believe it was used for religious ceremonies or bath. Next to the Great Bath stood a huge granary, and traders from other regions who stopped at Mohenjo-daro probably left their goods there. Harappa also contained a series of huge granaries. The floor of each granary was supported on low walls. In the walls were air holes that allowed the air to move around in the granary. This kept the grain dry and prevented it from spoiling. Nearby were circular brick platforms. Each had a scoped out area in the center where grain could be punched. The platforms were placed so that workers pounding grain could be washed over from the citadel. So guys, that's all. Thank you very much.